This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. This is Report of the Week here, with the voice of the Report of the Week, commonly known amongst the general public as VORW. It is 11:17 p.m. Eastern Time, or 3:17 p.m. Coordinated Universal Time. Sunday, August the 24th, though, soon to be August the 25th. August, well, is unofficially over, that's for sure. Officially, it's still got a few days left, but, unofficially, I mean, I'm done with August, you know? It's that simple, I'm done with it. That's it. There's nothing more to it. Just a week left, you know? So, time to welcome in September and the fall and all of that. But, you know, it's something, that's for sure, but who knows? Some people like the fall, some people absolutely hate it, but to each his own. It's still gonna be here either way. Soon. Still got a little ways to go, but soon the fall will be upon us. Took a walk tonight, as I always do, and you know what? I could tell fall was already in the air. Well, how could you tell this? Because for the first time this summer, I was taking a walk. I was wearing a short sleeve white dress shirt and tie, some black pants, and for the first time I was actually a little chilly. You know, so you could tell it's just going to get colder from here. Soon I'll be breaking out the sweaters and then the overcoat and the scarf and gloves, and snow will be on the ground, so I won't be walking anymore. And then I'll begin dressing for warmer weather again. Progress of the seasons. Yes, that is everything that needs to be said. How are you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good. How am I? Well, I'm not going to say good. I'm not going to say bad. Oh, if I recorded this last night, I would say bad, but, it's going. What more can I say? What more can be said, really? Yeah, it's just going. It's going. Time is passing. And here I am. So I feel I need to offer an explanation, at least. At least an explanation. Of why I didn't make a video yesterday. Yeah, sure, no big deal, right? You missed a day, so what? But when you have a schedule where you put up videos every other day, and people are used to seeing a video every other day, when you miss even just one day, it's a noticeable change. And already a few people asked, oh, hey, where was the VORW, or this and that, what have you. So I'll elaborate and I'll discuss right now. I figure, why bother? Why bother trying to obscure the truth? It's an odd way of putting it, but it's a way of saying it nonetheless. There's no place that wasn't going to get anywhere. There's no really purpose to obscure the truth and try to hide something and change your words to make it sound better or whatever. So I'm just going to say it as it is. Last night I was too depressed to record a show. I mean, yes, of course, it's simple to simply press the button on the microphone or whatever the equipment and record away. But it's difficult to do a show, a full, an hour show. When you're really down on yourself. Oh yeah, of course I could have blabbered on, but really, who wants to hear some sad sack, going on for a solid hour, whatever. But I'm in better spirits today, I guess, but still not fully, fully back. But good enough to do a show. So that's what's important. That is what's important. So that said, we're here. But for those of you wondering, you might be saying, well, I covered this in the what was it? The series, the VORW series, which I still got to finish, the History of My Channel series. But we got time. I'm probably going to definitely go overtime on this show. Maybe it's because we've got a lot of fan mail to read. I don't know how the turnout's been lately. Or maybe we'll just talk a little longer than normal since we missed a day. So I got no problems at all discussing this. So we'll talk. Let's talk. So you might be wondering, what sparked this? Why? What made it? What factors, right, played into it that you couldn't do a show last night, right? Well, it all started, and I'm not saying, it's this person's fault, it's this person's fault, this is that. I'm not putting the blame on anyone here. But it all started back in, I'd be tempted to say late 2013, when I was notified of the site known as 4chan, right? Good old 4chan. And once again, I'm not putting blame on the site. I've realized nowadays that this is just what they do. So they were doing their thing. And, got a lot of unprecedented, I would go as far as to say that, hate from them. And, I still do from time to time, but it's mostly died down. But, when it was at its peak, I'd say in late 2013. Seeing all that almost, changed my thought pattern, and, for some of that, I was reading all the hate and stuff, and I was accepting their, insults and what have you as actual truths about myself, and I came to hate myself, because of that. And I came to hate who I was, and, nowadays, most of that thinking is gone, but, sometimes there's some residual, some remnants, and sometimes that comes back, and, I came back last night, I was sitting there saying, why do you have to be like this, why do you have to, do this and that, and, be as you are, why do you have to do that, why couldn't you be normal, blah, blah, blah. So I figured, listen, I'm not gonna go out and do a show, like that. But I figured, hopefully, at least a few people would understand. Not doing it under those circumstances. So we're back. And, what are you gonna do about it? With time, it shall pass. It shall. And, that's that. But, hope that explanation shall suffice. Hope it does. But, that's where it stands. That's where things stand. And, that's all that needs to be said. I also covered this, but I'll say it again. You might be wondering, if your channel's, or at least the repercussions thereof, was bothering you so much, why didn't you just shut the channel down if that would have, granted immediate relief? And, trust me, I thought about doing that back in December. I was ready to do it. I had an announcement video all queued up and was ready to upload it any day. But, I don't know, something told me, no, don't shut the channel down, Because the problem is, really, or was, it still is a problem, but it's not as major, Unless the next wave shows up, right, from some other side. But, at least it's not as big of a problem now. But it wasn't making the content at all. No. Sitting behind the microphone here, or sitting behind the camera. I guess it's actually in front of the camera. Yes, it doesn't really matter. But, that's not the problem. It's not producing the content, which is an issue. It was the reception thereof. And, it's a pain. It's a pain, but, a lot of people say, ignore this stuff, ignore them haters. And, for years I've heeded that advice, but it's kind of difficult to ignore your own mind that is completely agreeing with all the crap that they're spewing out, and is telling you, pardon me, and is telling you, yes, you are this way, you're that, what's wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of hard to ignore that. Yes, that's really what got me in the end. But most of the time I don't have to deal with that, thankfully. But sometimes, it comes back. Not too bad though. It's bearable. But I try not to let it interfere with my work. That's the way to put it. So yeah, that's my explanation. I'm sure we killed a good deal of time. Oh, only 10 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. If we take this show to whatever, if we take it to an hour and a half, we take it to an hour and a half. You know, that's what we'll do. I might just take it to an hour. You know, shut this down, shut it down when I feel it right. But other than that, what did I do? What did I do? It's a long weekend now. You know, when was the last time I recorded a show? What was that, Friday? Or Saturday? Or is it Thursday? No, it might have been Thursday. So I guess I had all Friday, Saturday, and now today, Sunday, to go through before tonight. Before Friday, we didn't do anything. Another day, another dollar. Woke up, I guess normal time. Don't remember anything from Friday, so, you know, there goes that. But, you know, Saturday. Now, Saturday was a big day, right? I need water. Got a good glass of water. Only 11:26 p.m. right now. Let's take a sip of the glass of water. But, no, Saturday was a big day, okay? And I kid you not, yes. Saturday was actually a big day for me. I went out and, you know, I got a haircut, as I said I would. Went out and got a haircut. And, you know, I mean, it was something to do. It was certainly better than, you know, whatever it is, going out and, or not going out, actually, just staying in, right? More, at least, eventful than that. So, you know, I went out, woke up, you know, a little bit early. Woke up at 10 a.m. Saturday. Ended up washing all the product out of my hair, right? All that gook, right? Slime, burl cream, whatever you want to call it. But ended up. Sorry, I'm just laughing at this funny picture I see. I ended up waking up at around 10:30, 11. Washed all the stuff out of my hair. Then I went over to the barber shop at noon. Got the haircut. He actually did a pretty good job. The barber, cut it shorter on the sides and back. Nothing too ridiculous, though. And even took a little bit off the top, which is all right, And, cut it. It's a noticeable haircut, at least. And, that's that. He complimented my hairstyle. He said, it's classic, and, it's a fine one. One of the first people to ever compliment the hair, Always hear stuff about the suits, right? But never about the hair. So, I thanked him for that. And, that was that. The haircut was affordable. I went over to get lunch. Figured since I was out and about, may as well make my trip worthwhile. So I went over to, Pizza Hut. I went out and got their Cheesy Bites pizza, and it was absolutely delicious. What I worry about Pizza Hut sometimes is that it's hit or miss, For whatever reason, sometimes it's very good. Other times it's not, But this time it was actually quite good. I ate the entire pizza. And I was also near a clothing store. So while I was waiting for the pizza to be made, I went over there and I had some extra cash on me from the haircut. So I looked around the men's department and it was terrible. It was almost tear-inducing, I'll tell you. Yes, no joke, I kid you not. It almost drove me to tears. And, what did I see? What what horrible, deplorable things did I see in the men's department? I don't know. It was awful. Those suit jackets. I mean, it was all slim fit. That's all it was. And they had things called traditional fit that was still slim fit. And I figured, you know, what's the point? But lo and behold, I went over to the clearance rack and I found a solid pair of dress pants that were pleated, comfortable, solid black for $10. I bought them because that style, my style, is so unpopular. The clothing is dirt cheap, even when it's brand new. So, and I got another pair of pants. Not like I need them. That was an impulse buy, but hey, we got something. So another garment added to the wardrobe. So that. I had the pizza, and that was fine. Now, of course, you know, things were fine during the day, but then the night everything crashed down, and that was that. And today's Sunday. Well, I got a bad sleep. I fell asleep at, I actually did fall asleep. I didn't stay up the entire night because I got a bad sleep the night before, so, you know, for the past 2 days, I may be running on, you know, a combined sleep of 8 hours. You know, maybe 4 hours one day, 4 the next. So, I mean, you know, a little sleep deprived. But I plan on doing an energy drink review after I film or record this show. What do you think? No, forget it. It was a little thought that came to mind where, that'd be a waste of your time. I'm not gonna bother with that. But, I don't know, today I woke up, when I fell asleep at around 4. I woke up earlier in the morning. Stayed awake for some of the day, but I just couldn't do it anymore, so I fell asleep around 1. Woke up at 5. So I did get the equivalent of the previous night's sleep again in the afternoon. So that caught me up a little bit, but I'm still not fully awake, even after, you know, when I woke up at around 5 p.m. today. But I had dinner. I went out for a little bit of a walk, and here we are. Had to manage a few things with the subreddit, but here we are, behind the microphone, doing whatever. I'm not rushing through this. I'm not. Just taking my time. What's going on with what's plaguing the subreddit today? Question. What do you do with the other 6 slices of your pizza? I eat them. It's that simple. There's nothing more. I don't know why. I mean, well, you know what? No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. If you're wondering why I keep laughing, I was going through my mail, and this one guy directed me to this thread on 4chan that was talking about my videos, and surprisingly, it actually wasn't bad either. It was actually a positive thread, but there's another one with some really funny pictures in it that I keep cracking up at. But anyway, so it's plaguing the subreddit. Yes, with the I don't know why some people, you know, with the whole pizza question. Believe me, it's something that's been asked a few times before. What do you do with all the food after you review it? I eat it. I paid money for it. I'm gonna eat it. You know, I'm not a real big fan of cold pizza or you know, well, not frozen pizza, but you know, day old pizza. I'm not a fan of it. Figure I'll eat it fresh or I won't eat it. So I eat it. You know, I usually eat the whole pizza, or at least most of it. You know, if not all of the pizza. I might leave like a slice behind, but most of the time it's the whole pizza that I devour. You know, but I don't blame people for being, you know, curious about it. I mean, you gotta think. You know, I mean, look at me. You know, I'm a skeleton, pretty much. But, you know. Well, I guess it's just, somewhat, I guess, a good metabolism. I can't really say good health. But a solid metabolism, I guess that's what does it. Once again, though, I really can't imagine myself if I were to gain much weight. I really can't. I guess it's possible if there were if alternate universes exist, then there has to be one where I'm, a 500-pound guy, and then that has to exist. But I don't know. It's just some image I'm having trouble, imagining. But I guess it has to exist. It has to be around. Yeah, well. Then there's another guy. He said, "Review Bro, could you take this video down because it was interfering with his sleep?" Apparently, this guy sleeps to my videos, which you know what? I'm not gonna tell you what you can or can't do, but if my videos help you sleep at night, well then, go ahead and watch them. But apparently he had a playlist of my videos that he fell asleep to, and all of a sudden comes along this New York breadsticks review, which, you'll hear it about, I'd say about 50 seconds in. Here's what happens. You'll definitely hear it out of my speakers here. They're going to be cold and too long. They're going to be burnt to a crisp, but I'm not. Speakers get blown out pretty much. Now I didn't do that on purpose. It was a technical glitch in the video, if you will. And then kind of like I almost melt away. And, I put a few announcements on the video. I thought it was rather rude. I said we're experiencing technical difficulties because the video was obviously unmanageable following that. What was a nice coincidence about this video is that it was actually uploaded on Halloween, I believe, of 2013. So, it's an interesting little thing there. But, so the video was unwatchable after that. And he complained to me, saying I was sound asleep, and then this video comes up, and it scared me to death. And I figured, well, it was my fault for not taking the video down, but I'm not. I said I'm not going to take it down. I said if it'll help you sleep better, I'll make it unlisted. So I did, but of course it's an easy to find video, regardless. There's another video that's like that also. It's a Wendy's chicken nuggets review. But both of the videos I've re-uploaded since, but the original ones are there to stay. I'm never going to delete them. So they're there if you want to watch them. Anything else going on the subreddit? This guy said analysis. Will the reporter of the week consider testing the pH of his energy drinks with pH strips? I don't know why I would do that, but I guess there's a chance. I already thought I did the longest and most longest and unnecessarily detailed reviews on YouTube, but I guess if I want to take that a step further, I can do this. Will the reporter we consider using paper chromatography and bring a new aspect to the understanding of energy drinks? And will the reporter we consider new camera angles, for instance, close-up examination of the food prior to and during consumption? The thing is, though, with the camera angles, is that I only have a one-take policy. I'm not going to edit anything, okay? I film everything in one take. So, a different camera angle for me would be having to walk back over to the tripod, zooming in, sitting back down, then going back and zooming back out, all in one take, and that would look really weird. So I told him, these would have to call for some drastic changes to the show, which they would. I have to consult my panel of executive directors, and I'll reply again within 10 business days. So I told him. So, 10 days. I got another response to him, but I think I already know what I'll say. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you could read me like a book. A solid book. Fair enough. So let's check out the fan mail. See, where were we here? I'm just trying to find where, oh, here we are. Here's where we left off. From 3 days ago, the report of the week. If dogs were as smart as people and started to talk, get jobs, own land, vote, and other things people do, would they be able to be UFC fighters, or would that be considered illegal dog fighting? Well, I think that among the dog community, if they were as smart as people, they would surely have their own legislation. So I believe in the dog community, they would consider their fights to simply be that of recreation or entertainment, and they would see no problem in it. Just as we don't see any problem with cage fighting or MMA or good old non-fake wrestling, right? Like there is any. So I think to the dog community, they would consider it to be completely legal. But I bet if humans and dogs could coexist, I would say there would still be I think there would be people who would definitely be able to see the reasoning, I guess, with the dogs, and say, all right, yeah, you guys can fight if it's for entertainment and no one gets killed, at least intentionally. That's fine, but I'm sure there'd be activist groups out there also who would say, no, this is still inhumane, you can't do this. So I think it would draw some debate, right? And that's my thoughts on that. Hello, what are the most energy drinks you've ever consumed one day? I used to drink a 1 liter of energy drink after work. Yeah, the most I've ever had per day. Well, there's a difference between the most caffeine and the most energy drinks I've ever had per day. But, probably the most I've ever had, and on very rare occasion, most of the time I just have usually 16 ounces, fluid ounces. So most of the time most I've ever had was probably about, 3 16 ounces, of an energy drink. Not necessarily an energy drink. Usually, probably 2 16 ounces of a drink of some sort, and 1 16 ounce of coffee. I think I did that once during the winter. But most of the time, I'll just have, 16 ounce energy drink, or sometimes even just a little 8 ounce Red Bull, if I plan on doing an energy drink review later in the day. Well, yesterday, actually the day I got the haircut, that was actually a pretty caffeinated day, if I will. Had a full caffeine pill in the morning after I woke up, just because sometimes, an energy drink just doesn't cut it if you need to be awake right away. So I took a full caffeine pill in the morning, and then that night I had a 16 ounce Monster. So I mean, sometimes caffeine intake varies by the day. But I don't know why I waste my money on these 8 ounce Red Bulls. I don't do anything anymore. Gotta go big or go home, people, but they're cheap. It's all about the money. Money runs your life. Report of the week. What are some of your favorite parts of your evening walks? I mean, landmarks, neighbors. Picture New York as having really interesting neighborhoods. Yeah, I mean, it's a when I walk, it's very, I mean, at least, while during the day, it's of course bustling and quite busy. But, at night, it actually quiets down, calms down. I like the, in some aspects, the silence, the serenity. Even just being able to walk down a street and not even having a single car there. Just the light from the street lights and not from some inconsiderate driver who's blaring his brights at my face, So, that's nice. Even I just like the little cool breeze, night air, looking up at the stars, and it's very nice. And I mean, this year I'm gonna try and walk as long as I can until the snow comes. That's my policy. I figure I've got everything I need. I've got a top coat. I've got a scarf. I've got nice ear warmers. I don't call them ear muffs because when you say ear muffs, everyone pictures those stupid, puffed up, fuzzy things. But a nice pair of ear warmers, gloves, and so I'll walk as long as I can. Because another good thing about the winter is the cool winter air, the cold winter air. It's so crisp and refreshing, and it's something nice. Have you ever suspected neighbors of nefarious deeds, such as the Klopex from the Burbs? It's my favorite movie. I'd love to live on a spooky street like that. Thanks for your videos. Have a great night. Aaron. Yeah, I've had trouble with neighbors, that's for sure. I told you about that one unruly guy who was vandalizing the property. But, he hasn't done anything since, so that's that. Oh well, I figure if he does anything again, I'm calling the cops. But he had his fun. So that's that. But yeah, everyone has to deal with at least some idiot at some point. Hey, reviewer, I'll give my friend Joel a birthday shout out and thank you for introducing me into your show. Enjoy VORW and look forward to it throughout the week. Well, thank you, Joel. Wish you a happy birthday. No, it's a little late, but I wish you a belated birthday. Hope you had a good one. And I give you an official report of the week birthday shout out to Joel. Well, I have a ton of questions and observations for you. I have to take the VORW into next year. Alright, well, maybe not that many, but I'll just start one at a time. Number one, how old were you when you started dressing as you do, and did your parents roll with it immediately or not? I know, that's two. Really enjoying the show. I began dressing this way, well, apparently, listen, many years ago when I was a little child, I was incapable of intelligent thought. Alright, so I can't confirm this, but apparently when I was very young, even just like 5 years old, I didn't even like jeans. So I don't know, maybe it's because of some mental illness or something, that I dressed like this, but apparently even when I was very young, I didn't like jeans, and I only wanted to wear them on the weekends, but I really started seriously taking things. It was actually a very gradual progression. At least in terms of daily wear. Alright. First, I'm not gonna say I'm the sharpest tool in the shed, because I know I'm not, but I was at least bright enough to realize that if I just woke up one morning and just started, and I just immediately switched from t-shirts and shorts to a full three-piece suit, it would cause a lot of speculation and just unnecessary, questions and thoughts and what have you. So I took it slowly for the most part. Alright? I don't remember how old I was. I'd say younger, though, significantly younger. Maybe very early teens, maybe 10, 11. I don't think I'd go as far as to say 12. I think I was already starting to dress nicely then. But it was a while ago. It's been a while. And I originally started out by first ditching jeans entirely, at least blue jeans. I stopped wearing them. Alright? And then I stopped wearing t-shirts with any sort of print on them. I stopped doing that. Then I only wore, at least on some days I'd only wear, khakis, cargo pants, or, black jeans. With, for the most part, either polos or t-shirts. Then I, once again, eliminated a few other garments. I eliminated, I think, black jeans and any other type of jeans, and cargo pants, and I replaced those with more casual, if this is possible, casual dress pants. And I slowly weaned out the t-shirts, got rid of those. So then I was only wearing collared shirts and a mixture of khakis and dress pants. Then after that, this is over the course of years. Of course, though, on the weekends, I'd wear a tie. But every day, it was just a very slow progression. Everyone eventually got used to it. Then eventually, from dress pants and khakis, I got rid of. I know there's two types of khakis out there. Okay, you have the more like casual ones. Though back then they weren't these ultra tight, khaki pants that some of the young guys wear. They were more just like, I don't know, just more informal khakis. I switched those to formal khakis, with a crease and a, cuffed at the bottom like that you would wear with a tie almost. I began wearing those and other dress pants. Then I replaced most of the polo shirts with dress shirts, but I would still have them untucked. Then slowly but surely I tucked the dress shirts in, one with a belt. Then I eventually added a tie. Then I began adding other accessories like a vest, a sweater to the tie, and then eventually a jacket. Nowadays I just wear a full suit every day. And no one's even questioned the whole transition because it was done over such a period of time that no one even noticed the change except for myself. Yeah, so that's what I did. And everyone was fine with it because it was such a gradual, slow change that everyone was fine with it. You know? And over the time, I was also able to build up a very, very large wardrobe of an extreme amount of garments. I can't count how many of anything I have. But, you know, and so I did it, built it over time. Dear Lecturer Review Bra, I'm a genuine fan of your shows, and I was glad to hear you respond to my previous message in one of your shows, but I have a problem. I've started lifting weights recently, trying to get into shape. However, I've hit a wall that I can't seem to get over. I'm stuck at a certain lift, and I can't go higher. Will you bless my gains for me? I want to make mad gains. I heard you bless another person's gains, so I'd ask you if you could do the same for me. VORW blowout. Thanks, man. Alright, well, I bless your gains. You're going to get mad gains. You definitely will. And, you know, you're going to make it, brah. You will. You'll tackle this wall. You will. You're going to make it. You'll be fine. So don't worry. And, you know what? Just for you, I'll say the acclaimed blowout. Alright? So I said that, my famous phrase. Eventually, when holidays start coming up, eventually I'll start doing those blowouts, you know, again. But until then, well, the videos from last year are still up. But, yeah, I wish you all the best, and you're gonna get those gains, brah. You will. Don't worry. Hey, Report of the Week. I really appreciated that heartfelt birthday shout-out. They put a nice finish to a great birthday for my family and friends. Oh, thank you. It's the least I could do. I'm writing to say that I really appreciate the jalapeno double and crocodile Twinkie reviews. Something's different about them. I mean that in the best of ways. You seem happy. It's reminiscent of your older reviews. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you. This guy, I'm not going to read the message, but, what did he say? He said just keep an eye out on new releases from fast food restaurants that you review and frequent, and review the new items as soon as possible. And it's something I'll try to do. It's a tactic I'll try to do. I'm going to Wendy's tomorrow, so I mean, if there's anything from there that you want me to review, let me know. And that's to everyone, not just this guy. But I feel I've reviewed almost everything from Wendy's. Which would you rather choose? A, you could only ever eat pizza for the rest of your life, but its price is permanently discounted by 20% when you are buying it from any source. Or B, you can never eat pizza again for the rest of your life, but the price of every other food is permanently discounted by 10% when you are buying it from any source. Would you be able to give up every other food for your favorite food? Or could you give up your favorite food in exchange for the variety? Which would be? Well, I'd go up the second choice. I'd go with choice B. I would give up the pizza. Well, why? Because, yes, pizza is a staple in my diet. No doubt about it. But, you know, eating it every single day for what? You know, another however many years, you know, I'll be around from this pizza-induced diet, right? I don't know. I think it would just get to me after a while, you know? I think it wouldn't. I think I'd get really sick of it eventually, and then, oh no, I gotta eat pizza again, you know? But in the second part, well, so I'd give up my favorite food. And it would really pain me also, you know, seeing all the pizza places and pizza commercials and knowing I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to be able to eat it again. But number one, I'd have more variety, and number two, hey, listen, that deduction in price is or what was it? Was it a deduction or was it an increase? No, permanently discounted by 10%. So I mean, even that a 10% discount isn't bad at all, and I'd have more variety also. So I think I'd be able to be able to do that. It would be very difficult, though. I'm not gonna lie. So many minutes we've wasted. 40 minutes. We're gonna keep taking this on as long as it goes. Review bra. What is your fashion budget, and how frequently do you acquire new items for your wardrobe? Which stores, online or brick and mortar, do you prefer to patronize? Well, my budget is, I'll be honest, okay? I'm not gonna pay $1,000 for a suit that I'll be wearing every single day, okay? I know you fashionistas out there saying, what is wrong with you? You gotta buy at least a suit that's minimum of $2,500. And I figure, no, I'm not gonna do that. Listen, you can't even tell the difference between a suit that's $200 and a $2,500 suit. And $2,500 suits today are so god-awful. You never buy them. Most of the time I do my shopping online because the clothing that I look for isn't sold in stores anymore. It's not popular. So, gotta find it online, but once again, thankfully, because it's not popular, it's quite cheap. And, you might complain, you might say, oh yeah, this is a bad price for a suit, but I don't complain. They're all good quality for me, and I don't complain about them. I could get a suit easily for under $100. Sometimes I could get two for $100. It's only because the style isn't popular today. That's the only reason. They're good suits, they're good brands, and that's the only reason, because they're not popular today, the style. But of course, I'll check out a store every now and then, like I did this weekend, and if I find something that's really good, like those pants for $10, I'll get them. So usually, I really don't think about when I'll get a new, new addition to the wardrobe. Well, most of the time, wardrobe additions usually happen, I'd say, in the spring, and then again in the fall. That's usually when they happen. And what hair care products are you currently using? This product called Brill Cream. That's BRYLCREEM. That's Brill Cream, and I use just that. Alright? It was the authentic product that was used back when my hairstyle was the most popular one around. And, I use the authentic product. Figure what's better than that. So that's what I use. Though nowadays, of course, Brill Cream, they have a website and all that, but, they try to advertise their product with, more contemporary hairstyles. But, I'm not going to complain. I'm just glad it's still around. Hello there. I've been watching your videos for a few months now, and I think they're great. I've never sent you a message, but I was thinking of some things that I'd like to see you review. Just as suggestions. 1, do you eat chips? I don't eat them regularly, but I have no problem with chips. Lay's has their new flavors out, and I'd like to see you try them. It's easily accessible, so I could definitely try them. There's cappuccino, mango, wasabi, and bacon mac and cheese. My goodness, that's all disgusting for potato chips, but, it would be something to do a review on. Also, if you thought about reviewing coffee drinks like Starbucks, it's been recommended to me from a friend, actually. Starbucks refreshers and what have you. I think there's some sort of shot of theirs. But, that's been recommended to me. Have a good one. Well, thank you, and I'll definitely consider that. Halloween is coming, this person says. What are you dressing up as? I could see you as a mummy. I don't dress up as anything. I stay in on Halloween. Ugh. That's Halloween for me. I figure at this point I could just dress up as myself and say, I'm a review bro. You should all dress up you should all dress as me. I'm such a character anyway, so you could dress up, just put on a suit and carry around a pizza box and say, yeah, I'm being review bro. I'm the person. I'm assuming none of you go trick-or-treating anymore. I'm assuming you'd be going to, an adult Halloween party, right? But, go there and everyone would be trying to figure out what you are. You could mess with a lot of people by doing that. And then you had someone who's, you could get a really awkward situation where the people has no idea who I am, and they'll be like, oh yeah, review bro, yeah. High report of the week. Love your videos. Good job. It's obvious that you have a preference for frozen pizzas. Yes, as do I. But I was wondering if you'd ever review any of the frozen French bread pizzas, or have you considered some other common frozen meals as well, such as frozen burritos, pot pies, etc.? Yeah, I figure once we get rid of frozen pizzas, I don't know what we'll move on to. Use as the focal point of these reviews, but we'll find something to move on to. Frozen French bread pizzas. I'd like to review a few of those, just as I would like to review a few garlic bread pizzas. And yeah, we'll get there eventually. This gentleman asked, glad to see you're still up and running. Like your videos and outfits that you wear, very sharp and dapper. What happened to leaving comments on your videos? Used to be able to do that in the past. And I actually recognized his name, and he was part of the original group that was with me from even 2011, I think. So I personally took time to respond to that immediately, and I hope my answer sufficed. We've got fan mail galore still, and we're not going to stop it here. We're just going to keep going until we're done, because I think that's time limits are meaningless when when I took away a day from that. So that's what we'll do. We'll just keep going on. Continuing on here. Let's find it. Where did we leave off? Greetings, report of the week. I'm an avid viewer of your videos. Hope to continue for the long term, but I was wondering if you ever thought about monetizing your account and becoming a YouTube partner. Your audience and views seem sizable enough for you to earn a decent amount of cash for pizza and monster expenditures. Also, I've been wondering number one, in regards to monetization, I have no plan on doing that for at least almost about, at least for the remainder of 2014. I'll see what 2015 yields. And, you know what? Listen, I'm not going to lie. If times get really hard for me and I end up having no money and I'm broke and what have you, then I might monetize. And I might just have to get whatever scraps I can make off of this, just to put bread on the table, if you will. But, maybe sometime in 2015 I will, but right now I feel too guilty about putting ads on the videos, so I'm not going to do that yet. But maybe 2015 I'll monetize at some point. Maybe I won't, but maybe I will. But at least as of now, I will not. Also, I have been wondering what the chime is that occasionally rings in your videos. Regards. Well, there's two chimes, okay? There's the clock chime, right, which is bang, bang, bang. Sounds like an actual clock chime, right? Well, that's my clock. It's from a wall clock. It says regulator on it. Westminster Chime Quartz. It's a clock. It's been there forever. And it says 12:05 right now, which it is. So that's probably the one you're thinking about. But we also have a much older grand clock here. Maybe you could hear it's ticking. If you could hear that, that's a second hand on it. It's a grandfather clock from, at least, the youngest it could be is from the 1730s or 1740s, but it could be even way older than that. So it's hundreds of years old. It's, we got it in our possession last year. We finally got it over here just at some point this year. And it almost sounds more like a bell tolling, like a higher pitched bell ringing. And that's just a chime on this clock here. But it's It's an absolutely beautiful grandfather clock. It's definitely one of the oldest working objects that, I've seen. But no, absolutely beautiful late Baroque period. But it's very nice. It not only tells the time, it could also tell the phases of the moon, the day and the month, and it's a very nice one. We had to get it fixed up in when we got it over here because it had not been working for many years prior. But we got someone here to fix it up and get it working again. You just have to wind it up about once a week. It's a tall grandfather clock, though, absolutely beautiful in my opinion. And I don't know, one interesting thing about it, the guy who was fixing it said it actually was very advanced for its time, and it even has almost a type of alarm system on this. Number one, you actually have the ability from this clock that was made in the early 1700s to actually turn the chime on and off. And then it actually also has almost alarm system to it, which he said he couldn't even figure out. Where apparently if you set something a certain way, the chime or whatever could go off at a certain time and you could actually use it to wake yourself up or whatever. He said that was amazing. But if he wanted to fix that, he would have to open up the side of the clock, and he wasn't willing to do that. I don't blame him. But so that's what the higher pitched, almost sounds like a bell. That's what that is. Carrying on. Hello, sir. Thank you for your videos, entertaining VORWs, and for getting me interested in shortwave radio. I plan on buying myself an actual radio, and a review of your radio would be very appreciated by me, and I'm sure a lot of other viewers. Oh yeah, I could do that. I could get a review of that at some point. It'll be my first ever product review. But yeah, we could do that. We could manage there. I was wondering if you could give your opinion on tweed suits. I can't ever remember seeing you in one. I find them to be the perfect attire if I want to dress up a little more than my usual slobby get-up. I always recommend them for people who are usually not good at handling their clothes, as tweed is near impossible to wrinkle, plus they're warm and cozy on an autumn day. Keep up the show and have a nice day. Well, thank you. Tweed suits are, they're not something I would complain about. I could wear them, but chances are, at least nowadays, I'd have to go for a vintage tweed suit. I do have a tweed sport coat, and one of my suits, a gray one that I wore on Saturday, some have considered it tweed, but it's a lot finer, than the more outstanding patterns. But, even that suit is probably about 20 years old. So, tweed suits nowadays, the pattern is great, I like them, but you can only literally find one. They're all ultra slim, because they're fashionable nowadays, and that's all there is to it. So, I'm not willing to wear a jacket that goes down to my waist, and that's it. So, I have, even the sport coats are a bit too modern, but, if I'm wearing an outfit that I really don't care what happens to, that'll be it, It's something I refer to as a rag, because that's how I think of it, if I ever spill anything all over it, I'm not going to care, So, that's that. I think the jacket and the sport coat's way too short, a little too tight, but it's modern. So, maybe that's why. But I'll agree with you there. They are warm, that's for sure. This guy asked, how do you feel about Danica Patrick? For those of you who don't know, she's a female NASCAR driver. And, I think she's at least the first, or one of the first, female NASCAR drivers. So, I applaud her for being, the first there, and maybe because she's the first, female driver, that is what garnered her a good deal of attention. She's actually a better, I think, IndyCar driver I think she's actually pretty good at that. But with NASCAR races, I mean, I don't know if she's won any, but she'll be at the front of the pack for a while, and then drop back, or something will happen, or there'll be an accident, or what have you. I'll be honest with you, definitely not my favorite driver. My favorite drivers are Mr. Jimmy Johnson. What's the team for Hendricks Motorsports? Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And, 3 of them are some of the best there are in the whole sport. Poor Casey Kane, though, he's been having a really bad year. He's been crashing out pretty much every single race, and it's not even his fault. And heard that the team, Hendricks Motorsports, that they drive for is, thinking about getting rid of him, getting another driver. And I feel bad for him, though, because it's not his fault. He's a good driver. It's just unfortunate coincidence and circumstance. But, I guess that's how it goes. Let's continue on. We are now approaching the 1 hour mark. We'll keep going. I'm going to keep going past an hour. Dear Report of the Week. How often do you drink energy drinks? I, against my better health judgment, drink 1 per day. Also, how many milligrams of caffeine do you estimate you consume per day? Well, I have at least 1 energy drink per day. But sometimes 2, if I'm doing a review. How many milligrams of caffeine? I'd say anywhere between probably 200 and probably 600. Maybe some days 800. But usually probably between 2 and 600. Like today, I've already had only 80 milligrams of caffeine in my system just from this little 8-ounce Red Bull. But let's go over to the fridge here where we're keeping the drink that we're going to review soon. It's a Kickstart by Mountain Dew, and then we're going to get up. We're going to start reviewing these grenades. Let's see if they do talk about. Yeah, okay. Even this one isn't that big. It's just about 92. We'll round it to 100 milligrams per can. So I mean, even here it's just 180. That's I don't know. I usually have more than that per day. Let me see if the original Monster has any of this stuff listed. Yeah, and even Monster has 160 per can. So I'd say anywhere between 200 and 600, because there's some drinks that have, an astonishing 1,000 milligrams of caffeine in them. So it all varies, really. But I do have usually 1 drink per day. Yeah, it might be against my better health judgment too, but, I'm not going to change that. One other random question. What do you think of the rock band Kiss? Do you like any of their songs? I definitely know of them. It's not a group I've been listening to recently, but, I figure since I don't have any problems with the genre, I don't think I'd have any issues with them. If you're a fan of them and you have any songs you recommend to me, feel free to send them over, the titles and what have you, and gladly give them a listen. I'm always open to music, that's one thing. So if you have any favorite songs of theirs and you're willing to, well, number one, listen to me talk for an hour so you could hear me get to your message. Number two, if you want to reply, just if you're a fan of them, let me know. If you have any recommendations, I'll listen. The end is in sight. That it is. Although I absolutely love your videos, I've never sent a message before on YouTube, and I feel like an idiot for doing so. No, I don't. But I had to, because I think you're excellent. That is all. That was from Lily. Thank you for your words. You have previously mentioned that you enjoy NASCAR, this person writes. Could you expand on this? What do you like about it? How did you get into it? How long have you followed it? What do you dislike about it, etc.? Yeah, NASCAR, it's a very, I ironic thing, really. NASCAR is so often associated with, hicks and hillbillies, and then here's this little guy, in a suit. Kind of stands out. So, it's reasonable. I first discovered NASCAR about 10 years ago. I actually first discovered it with the truck races. There used to be this channel called Speed. I think it's now Fox Sports. But, called Speed. And they used to air the NASCAR truck races. And around 2004, I think that's when I first discovered them. Of course, I was younger, but I was still capable of watching television. So, that's what first got me enthralled into it. And I actually became a fan of it, because around the same time, my father also got into NASCAR, so the two of us would sit down on Sundays and watch the race. And that was a sport we both got into at the same time. So that's something. But we first really started getting into it. I actually got some old pictures here on the computer. I'm just looking for a date. It was the first NASCAR race we went to in Pocono, Pennsylvania, the Pocono 500, as it was called back then. Is it here? LMNOP. Maybe it's here. No. Oh, NASCAR, okay. The first NASCAR race we went to was about 7 years ago. I think this is the one, yeah. First NASCAR race we went to 7 years ago was, in 07, Pocono 500. And after that we were completely enthralled. We've always followed all the races and what have you on TV. And I watched it, and we still do. And we still, attend that race as frequently as we can. But I swear, NASCAR was completely different back then. Because if you gotta think about it, I'm not talking about the races. They're exactly the same. I'm talking about the crowd, really. The NASCAR fan base is much different than when we first arrived. Because if you think about it, in 2007, smartphones weren't around. Or if they were, I sure don't remember them. Social media wasn't that big. MySpace was still popular. Well, it wasn't anything big. So, social media, whether you like it or not, and smartphones completely changed and, some might say corrupted society, but it definitely changed it, and there's no denying that. And likewise, that really changed the crowd at NASCAR, completely noticeably. Because in 2007, it was crazy there. It was literally all these stereotypical hillbillies. You had guys, literally tons and tons of pickup trucks with, people just proudly displaying their guns and Confederate flags flying everywhere. You had guys, just literally thousands of people just sitting in the fields there where you park, just drinking beers and what have you. And I remember at the gate, there was really, at the front gate, right, which you had to go in and, I guess, get your ticket or whatever. There was this really fat guy with his shirt off, just eating raw shrimp out of this filthy bag. There was all sorts of people there. And, it was a really, seedy place, And, even in 2008, it was still kind of like that. But, then in 2009, everything changed. And I guess because of social media and smartphones, NASCAR started gaining recognition among the general public. And nowadays, in 2013, yes, while these people are still around, and I still see them at the races and what have you, there's also a lot of just regular people there now. It used to be exclusively all these weird people there. It was like a literal circus, pretty much. Nowadays, of course, when these people are still there, it's definitely gotten a different audience as well. And once again, there are more normal people there, if you want to call it normal. No, I will say, I'm not going to lie to you, I still understand that CB radio is still popular among the, among a lot of people who are familiar, big fans of NASCAR. So I was not going to lie, while I was walking through the parking lot most recently, I was looking for all the CB radio antennas, and I was surprised to see there still were a lot of them. I was kind of tempted. I might do it next year. I'll just bring my own, and I won't transmit or anything, but at least I'll listen to see what all these unruly drunk NASCAR fans have to say on the radio. Still got mine right here. We're almost done. I just saw on Reddit. You're a little down. Probably won't do a VORW tonight. This was 21 hours ago. Super disappointed, but I totally understand. That being said, you should also know that there are thousands of people out here who enjoy who you are on YouTube, whatever mood you are in. You seem to be incredibly hard on yourself. Well, I guess you could say that. I mean, I'm not going to admit it, but I mean, if you want to say it, you can. I don't know. And in reality, a ginormous bunch of listeners think you rock. Feel better, dude. Well, thank you. Dear VORW, I wish you health, wealth, and happiness as usual. I do have more questions for the Report of the Week show. Do you know anyone in the Mafia? What's your favorite gangster movie? Well, The Godfather is my favorite gangster movie. Classic, you know. I don't know anyone in the mob, though some people, hopefully jokingly, have thought that I do have Mafia connections. But who knows? Most of the time, literally, it's a problem of mine, but most of the time I just assume that anything anyone says to me online is in a sarcastic or joking manner. So I can't take anything seriously, unfortunately, a lot of the time. But I hope they weren't serious when they thought I had Mafia connections. Do you have a favorite state flag? Mine is Arizona. I'm a fan of the New York flag, but I like the Hawaiian flag. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a bit odd that they have the Union Jack, still there on this U.S. flag. But I like the Hawaiian state flag, if I do say so myself. Have you ever had chicken pox? Do you remember it? I have not. I was what do you call it? Got the shot, so I did not have it. Do you like bouncy castles? Or trampolines? Or a ball pit? When I was much younger, I did. Bouncy castles. Though, listen, I'll be honest with you. If I had the chance to go in a bouncy castle nowadays, I think I'd still have fun, but, I'd get a lot of looks. That's for sure. Have you heard of the TV show King of the Hill? I have. I haven't watched it recently, but last year, actually, it used to come on Adult Swim every morning, I think, from, I don't know if it was 6 to 6:30 a.m. or if it was from 5 to 6 a.m. But either way, I used to watch it every morning from 5 to 6 a.m. on weekdays. And it was a good show. I think it's still on. Though I thought the artwork, the drawing by it made it look like it was a lot older than it was. I thought it was a show from like the 90s. But I was actually surprised it was from the 2000s. But it's just the style of artwork for the cartoon. But it's a good show. I recommend it. If you could try any variety of facial hair for a day, what would you choose? Full natural beard, handlebar mustache, mutton chops, goatee. I would go for full beard. I would just be curious to see what I would look like with a beard. I would also go for mustache. What do they call it? I'd go with probably a pencil mustache, as they call it. You could look at images. It's that thin mustache. I'd at least try and go with that and see how I looked. But otherwise, I'd go for full beard just to see how I would look. Another thing I would like to try is just one of those, I don't know, maybe you could get pictures on Google Images here. Yeah, just go for like a classic 70s mustache, like, what was that? That one guy in Anchorman, I think, right? Ron Burgundy? Mustache. Did he have a mustache? Yeah. So go for like one of those mustaches, just to see how it goes. A variety of facial hair. What do you think of store-brand energy drinks? Sometimes I get the 1-liter bottles of store-brand drink. Doesn't taste great, but you get a lot of caffeine. I fully agree with your opinion right there. It supplies the caffeine and it tastes awful. Have you ever tried any of those pizza places where you can draw the sort of design you want on the internet? They deliver a pizza that looks like what you drew? No, I've actually never heard of that until just now. It's an interesting thing, though. But, I have not. Have you ever tried cooking a pizza yourself? If you if you did, would you review them? Would it feel like the inherent conflict of interest would make it impossible to remain an impractical reviewer? I don't think I would review it, really. Many years ago, I cooked a pizza myself. I actually had the dough. I tossed the dough. I had the cheese, the sauce, and all the toppings. And I didn't mind it, but I prefer pizza made by actual pizza chefs. And that chime you heard just there, that was the grandfather clock. And finally, we were ever in the Boy Scouts or some sort of similar outdoor club. I think I was in the Scouts for a bit when I was younger. Second to last one. Greetings. I've been following your reviews and VORW lectures for some time now, and I figured it would only be proper to finally compliment you on your work. If ever, you have even opened me up to the world of frozen pizzas. I start out with the Freschetta 3 meat, but no matter what else I try, I always go back to that one. I wholeheartedly agree with you there with Freschetta. That's my favorite. Although I do like the rising crust of theirs, but you know what? That's actually not a bad one. The 3 meat medley. It's a favorite of mine. Anyways, I'm looking forward to October for season 5 of The Walking Dead. Hey, me too. Me too. Have you read the comic? I have, but I've got a few that I got to read now, and you know, I read all of them at once, and then I forgot the whole plots, and I got to read them again. Got a lot of reading to do. Said I managed to just read over 100 issues, but decided to stop because people say it ruins the show and vice versa. Keep the reviews and VORWs coming. It's always a joy to see you on my sub page. Yeah, I know, people say, oh yeah, you read the comic and that ruins the show, but it really doesn't. You know, it really doesn't. Because I read the comic, I know what's going to happen, but the show is so different from the comic, it doesn't really change anything. It just follows barely the same plot. There's zombies, there's the same characters, that's it. That's pretty much it. But there's a few good spoilers that I know, and I'm not going to share them. And finally, well, I can't answer this guy's question, really. I feel bad about doing it because he typed up a paragraph, but I really can't. He asked if I've ever read Catcher in the Rye, and I have not read that book, so I can't, I know I've read a lot of books, but that's one that I have not read. I feel really bad about saying this, but I can't share my thoughts on it. You're asking me about another book I might know. And this guy's in the spam folder, but I saw it already. He linked me to a 4chan thread on B. That's random. And you know. It was about God tier YouTube channels, and there's my picture. But people were actually alright with that, and that actually kind of surprised me. Oh, sure, B, that's where you could say literally anything about anyone and get away with it. But I was actually surprised by the answer, or the response at this guy, and, you know, that's actually not bad. You'd think that B, right, random, where there's no rules, whatever, would be actually the worst board on 4chan for me, but it's actually the cooking board that hates me the most. I think that's a little, once again, ironic. But, you know, that's it. Well, how much time have we gone over here? Hour and 15 minutes, pretty much. That sums up today's VORW show. We'll be back on schedule now. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, let your voice be heard. Feel free to send me a message of any sort. Comments, questions, concerns, just want to talk. Send me a message on YouTube, and I'll gladly read and respond to it at the beginning of each and every VORW show. Though remember, if you wish a personal response be given to your message, please specify it in the beginning of your message, and I'll work my very best to get a message out to you hopefully within the same day, but sometimes it might take a few days. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you later. This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing off.